Everybody, welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative podcast of Southern Oregon, conservative voice, I should say, of Southern Oregon. And nice to be back. We took a week off last week. We had New Year's happening and the holidays, so everybody needed a little time to get away, and we're no exception. We also need a little time to get away. But thank you all for coming back and hanging out with us tonight. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Got some great guests with us tonight as well. This might actually go a little longer than an hour tonight, but real quick before I introduce our guests, I want to thank our sponsors again, and I'll just go through the list. Becky Holmes Insurance, we'll be talking about her here in a little bit. Andrea Williams, I think she's coming to the end of her sponsorship for this term, but thank you for joining us. Also, Bill Hagedorn Construction, Twin Peaks Off-Road, that's my business, and Little Mill Media, who is actually the guys on the other side of the camera looking back at us and making us look good on camera, if there is such a thing. And always, as I say at the beginning of every one of my podcasts, this is a conservative voice of Southern Oregon. If you don't like what we have to say, please don't watch us. And in the past few weeks, we've had some folks that come on and they really don't want to hear what we have to say, and they're kind of upset. And I encourage them to go watch the Southern Oregon Progressive podcast. I think it's a great place for them. And I also will make the comment that I have spent a little bit of time looking at some of the commissioner candidates, some of the things that have been going on lately, and some of the things that have been being said. And I'll tell you this about politics. Politics is not easy. It's a tough road to go on. You always are going to have some people that aren't going to like you. You're going to have some people that do like you. We're not particularly here. We are a conservative voice, but we don't have any enemies. We don't love anybody. We don't hate anybody. But if you choose to come on the podcast and make nasty comments, then that's fine. But we don't have to respond to you. And you might not like the response that you get if you do. So anyway, just a little bit of a warning on that. With that said, our guest tonight, we have Commissioner Chris Boice with us. Chris, you've been a county commissioner here for a while now, huh?
Yep, been a commissioner for 11 years. It's been the joy of my life to serve the people in Douglas County. And as you mentioned, it's not an easy job. No. We do happen to be up for re-election this year, so that adds to the work that we normally do. But, we just go out and get what we need to do and get it done.
Yeah. And I know, I've worked side by side with you in the field. I know what you do, and I appreciate you. And for that matter, all three commissioners, that you guys are all definitely community members and work hard for us. Also, I have my co-host here, Trent Drake. Trent, who are you?
I'm still Trent Drake. I am the chair of the Douglas County Republican Central Committee.
Right on.
Coming to the end. I assume my term's the end of this year, I think.
November,
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I can't believe it's been a year.
You're still my campaign guy.
Still your campaign guy.
Yeah.
We got a great campaign thing next week.
Unless you're getting ready to retire.
No, I'm just tired.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, we do have our campaign kickoff happening next. It's the 17th.
17th.
At Umpqua Community College at the Wine Institute, the Lang Center, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be fun. We are actually sponsoring the hors d'oeuvres and the beer and wine, and we're going to have some great speakers there. Senator Brock Smith will be there speaking, as well as our minority House leader, Lucetta Elmer's coming down to speak, and we'll also have Under Sheriff Brad Odell there as well to speak. So it should be some good stuff and some good fellowship with everybody. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I have several things on my list, and one of the things probably I guess we could start out with is actually I think what we'll do here is we'll start out with Commissioner Boice. He has some stuff that he wants to go over with people, and then we're going to get a little bit more into elections and campaigns and what's happening and the voter registration in Douglas County and who's who and all of that. But I think I want to go ahead and start out with Commissioner Boice, because I think his message, as I've been following on social media, there's been some misinformation that's gone out to the public, and this podcast only tells the truth. And you may not like the truth, but that's all we do is tell the truth and transparency. So, Commissioner Boice, what's going on in politics that is affecting you guys right now?
It's really sort of a sad state of affairs, and it's some work that we're doing that on any normal day we would consider to be very routine. We have a group of homeowners up in it's the Winchester Ridge subdivision. Most people recognize as being up behind Costco. Mm-hmm. When the developer bought those properties and developed them, one of the requirements in order to get permits to build houses up there is you got to be able to provide utilities, right? So he developed a water system that was a big tank, a couple of wells that feed the tank. The tank feeds the houses. That was over 20 years ago. We've had some drought years and some things have happened. The wells, one of them no longer produces, the other one's struggling. So these homes up there are looking for a way to try to find a secure and stable water source. And some of the easiest work that we do is when people come to us with a problem, but they also come to us with a solution. And they came to us and said, hey, look, we got this problem. We want to secure this water. We're currently a water association, but we want to turn ourselves into a water district. That will give us some added tools in the toolbox to work with municipal water suppliers to provide water to our homes.
Is it a taxing district, so they'll be able to?
Some districts can be a taxing district. This one is actually proposed to be a non-taxing district.
Okay.
They're going to assess themselves an initial cost per house to be a member, but after that, no permanent tax. But it gives them some tools that they don't currently have now in order to be able to work with municipal water suppliers, of which locally we have two. We got Umpqua Basin Water, and you got the city of Roseburg providing water. And so it's a real simple thing. We have a public hearing scheduled actually tomorrow morning at 9 to hear their proposal. And again, it is their proposal. They petitioned us to form the district. And so there's a newspaper story came out about this. And it's, as well as I do, Virgil, that anymore media is tough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different places where people choose to get their news.
Right.
And there are a lot of places out there putting out information pretending to be the news that aren't necessarily the news.
Yeah.
And you can't trust the information that comes from them. This particular newspaper happened to come from, a local well-known news source.
And I'm sorry, I never read the article.
Yeah. and the problem is that there were some conclusions drawn in the article. There were some assumptions made in the article. And the bottom line is the article was just completely wrong. It said some things in it that weren't true. It said that these homes that are up here on the ridge used to be part of the Winchester Water Control District. And if anyone's paying attention around locally, they understand the Winchester Water Control District is the group of homeowners who have a district themselves who's responsible for the ownership of the dam on the north.
And all of those owners live on the river.
They do. They all have property that's touching the river.
And this is a district that would be what, half mile from the river?
Yeah, or more.
Or more. Yeah, as a crow flies, maybe a mile even. Yeah.
Or more.
Okay.
And the article suggested that the Winchester Water Control District at currently or at one time was responsible for providing municipal water to these homes, which is absolutely not true. The Winchester Water Control District doesn't provide municipal water to anyone. Right. Not even its own members do they provide water to. They don't.
It's the intake's below the dam.
Yeah, they don't take water out of the river. That's not what they do at all. It doesn't have anything to do with water.
Okay.
Anyway, so the public reading this story immediately started to believe some things that weren't true. They connected this proposed water district on Winchester Ridge to an administrative law judge's ruling about having to build a fish ladder. There was lots of accusations made about the people that need to build the fish ladder are trying to just get out of it by doing this other thing. They're trying to pass the buck to taxpayers. There's a whole bunch of things come from an article that wasn't real in the first place. And, that really is sort of the life that we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of people in the community that say a lot of horrible things about me based on something that they read and believed in the media.
Sure.
But this one touched real close to home because we actually have a group of good people that are out there trying to solve their own problem, and the process should be fairly simple. The state statute requires that we process a petition for a local district, and we're just doing our job. But this news article just destroyed it. you know.
Were you able to talk to the reporter that wrote the article at all?
I was actually. I got him on the phone and called the folks over there, and I said, "Listen, you know, you guys have a problem. I don't believe that it was done maliciously, but it certainly was done very, very carelessly. And the thing that really bothered me the most is that this article's in print, in electronic form, and then eventually in the paper form, and they never even bothered to call us and ask.
Yeah,
They never called. I mean, there's a half a dozen people that work for the county, including the 3 commissioners who are always on top of what's going on.
Yeah.
Plus the folks in the planning department and others that would be able to answer some simple questions and get this information out in a way that it was factual so that people can understand it.
Who did they get the information from to write the story? Did they tell you?
So there's a notice that we post in the paper about upcoming public hearings.
I got you.
And so they knew that this public hearing was coming up. And as far as I could tell, beyond that, they just sort of drew their own conclusions. And it really did get messy. I spent hours and hours and hours over the weekend on social media, just literally trying to put out the facts, the truth.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really hard for us. You know, we're politicians, so if our mouth's moving, we're lying, right?
That's what everybody thinks.
Right. Yeah. So people are jumping in saying, you know, obviously there's something going on here if you're trying to cover it up and hide it. And, you know, and I really was just trying to explain to people, listen, there's no connection between these two things. There really isn't. I understand that this issue is a passionate issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But these two things aren't any more related
Not even the same people.
than 2 guys that have the same first name.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Winchester Ridge Water folks, and then there's the Winchester Water Control District. They share the name Winchester, but beyond that, they just simply aren't related. And it created hours and hours and hours of work for me and for my fellow commissioners and other folks, really just fighting to try to get the story straight.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think it's a campaign year, right? I mean, everybody's up for election, myself included, and I know that some of the folks that are running against you guys, jump on things like that. Anything they can find to hammer on, what our commissioners are doing currently, and they were hammering on me pretty hard on the internet too, and over me going to their town hall. It was a town hall, right? I understand, and like I told them in the town hall, there's a lot of passion that goes behind being in politics. But you got to have your facts right, and if you don't have your facts right, and I'm not always right, but if I'm not sure about something, I will let everybody know up front, this is my opinion, right? I may or may not be right, but I think this is the way it's going, and I kind of hammered on those guys a little bit because I think that in their town hall, they discussed a lot of information, most of which and almost all of which doesn't fall under the purview of the commissioner's job.
Yeah.
And I caught a lot of blowback from that, and I wasn't trying to be rude. I don't have any axe to grind with any of them. I appreciate the fact that they're all working hard to try to do to achieve their goal. But the fact is, if you're going to run against somebody and you run for a position in whatever political position it is, whether it be in in the state or the House or wherever you're at, you got to know what you're doing. Because when you say those words, when you make those accusations, when you do that stuff, that's forever. This is how it is these days. When it's online, it's it's forever.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't send dirty pictures of ourselves to people. Just kidding. But and I know that I know what the commissioners do. I mean, you guys, myself, and the 3 of you we work together on a lot of things, right? And there's a lot of you guys catch some heat for things that is totally on the state's issues. I wish that I could. I'm a minority party in the state. Obviously, we're not a minority party in Douglas County, but when it comes to state issues, and again, I met with some bankers today, and we had a long discussion about being in the minority party and what we can and can't do. And frankly, the bankers, at least the ones I met with today, are highly concerned about the regulations. There's too many regulations and agencies in the state, and there's no oversight.
Yeah.
Right. Well, all of that trickles down, and then you guys are forced to deal with it.
Yeah.
Whether that, I think I had somebody today on maybe yesterday hammering on me about habitat, because and the same person wants houses built, right? They want all these houses built in Douglas County, and they want $150,000 houses so we can put people in them, which is not going to happen because the state's never going to let that go. There's too many regulations around housing as well. But But to do that, you have to have vacant lots. And to have vacant lots means that rabbit that you're claiming needs a home is going to have to go move somewhere else, right?
Right.
And so they're hammering on me for that. I'm like, but you guys a week ago were hammering on me because we don't have any houses built. What do you want? You want houses or you want rabbits and vacant lots?
Mhm.
And when we can get into the wetlands issue all again, that's a whole other,
Sure. One I work on nearly every day.
Yeah, exactly. And thank God we have people doing it.
Well, and the sad thing too is, they say, oh, we want $150,000 house. And they don't realize what that buys them. The room that we're in is too big for $150,000 house.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
I mean, just utilities alone to hook up are going to be 30 to 40 grand.
So there was a bill passed that I don't remember the year, but we talked about it today. I think it was probably in 2018 that governed any buildings in Oregon that are over 20,000 square feet. In other words, apartment buildings or, whatever. And basically what it says was by 2026, I think it's January, you now have to start reporting to the Oregon government how you are energy efficient. And if you don't meet the minimum standards, you have to remodel the building to meet the minimum standards. That's a law in the freaking state.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, now it's millions of dollars to upgrade a building, especially an apartment complex, right? But yet, I'll just say it, the Democrats are bitching because they want all these apartments. They want cheap buildings. They want cheap places for people to live. Okay, so you have a landlord that now has a building that because of state rules and agency governing, they can't meet those requirements. So what are they going to do with the building? I mean, burn it down or walk away from it or sell it, and I guarantee you if a landlord sells a building, it's not necessarily going to come back as apartments for low income housing.
Right.
Because nobody can afford that.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a real catch-22. And at some point, I keep hearing about, I know I'm talking a lot here, but I keep hearing, oh, people want change. They want change. It's like, well, the majority party in the state put us where we're at.
Yeah.
I want change too, but you're not going to get it at a local level when the local politicians or local government has to comply to state law. And that's just a fact. So
you mentioned, we have a slate of candidates that are running against probably all of us, but for the commissioners for sure. But and talking about some of the things that they talked about at the town hall, and I've read their campaign platforms and the things that they want to do, and there's some real feel good stuff in there that sounds warm and fuzzy, that we as commissioners have absolutely no control over, other than to maybe try to work with you or to somebody else to get those things done. But the thing that I found that was the most interesting is their whole entire foundation is based on these guys aren't doing a good enough job and we could do it better.
Right.
But they don't have any idea what kind of a job we're doing.
Right.
Right.
They've not been to our office. They've not seen what we do. They've not asked questions about what are we doing about housing and wetlands issues and all the other things that go into that. They don't have any idea how hard we work on any of these issues, but by God, we get paid too much, and for the money, they're going to do more work than we're going to do.
I tell you, and I've heard that 1,000 times. Our commissioners are overpaid. You guys are not, well, in my opinion, you're not overpaid. In fact, if you look at the amount of responsibilities that fall on the three commissioners, and we are in a county where our three commissioners you guys are the governance of the county. We're not a home rule charter county, thank God. If we were a home rule charter county, the one guy you'd have 5 commissioners and one guy making all the decisions, basically, that guy would be getting paid more than the 3 of you put together.
Yep.
And probably not be in tune with the public anywhere at all. Yep. So, there's
he doesn't get voted out of his job.
He does not get voted out of his job, right? And so the commissioners would only be making suggestions. So and I have and we see that in other counties, and it's a horrible disaster in most counties.
They're failures in most.
They're failures in most counties. Yeah. So, and again, I just want to go back a little bit and say, look, I understand, and I know they're going to blow me up. I'm going to hear all about on how Virgil's podcast is. We're promoting the commissioners and all this crap. Frankly, I understand the job that those guys do. And I don't understand all of it, but I understand a lot of it, and I know what they do, and we interact on a regular basis. So if you are out there and you want that job, then you better damn well be able to do that same thing. You better be able to say, hey, this is how I do it better, and I haven't heard that yet. So I understand the town halls, and frankly, if I have a town hall as a candidate and I'm running, with people, I think I'd invite everybody that's running. That includes the three of you.
Right.
And I didn't get that. You guys didn't get an invite to those town halls. Neither did I. I showed up. Now they'll probably never let me back in. That's fine.
And we talked about, the media when we started here, and that's honestly one of the complaints that we have with the local media.
Yeah.
They put an article out there that says commissioner candidates hold town hall. But it isn't all the commissioner candidates. All the commissioner candidates weren't even invited.
Yep.
No, that's true. And in fact, there were several that were not present. Not just you guys, but several of the other slate were not present at all at the one I went to. But I know they're going to do it again in North County. So look, we're about 2 minutes behind on our regular timer. We break for our commercials. So we're going to take a real quick break here, and then we're going to talk about some of our sponsors for just a few minutes. So if everybody will stay with us, and please get your comments ready and your questions ready, and feel free to ask them. We'll try to address what we can on here as well. So give us about 30 seconds and we'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and in the adventure.
Welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon. We just kind of got started into some of our local politics issues, and I want to just remind everybody, please like our Facebook or YouTube, and join us and follow us. We do this every week, every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, with the exception of one or two here and there. We are happy to bring you the truth in politics. I know I have one person that follows me that is using AI pretty heavily to say that I'm not telling the truth, and he wants to make sure that I'm telling the truth. So he wants to hit our 1.2 million followers that we've had to make sure that they all get the truth. Well, have fun doing that, because we're still going to tell the truth, and that's fine with us. Anyway, I'm a little spiteful tonight, so sorry.
Right, spicy.
A little spicy, a little spicy tonight. So we're going to talk about our sponsors real quick, and I'm going to give my first read over to Trent. Trent, read off one of our sponsors, would you?
All right, I'm going to talk about my good buddy Bill Hagedorn Construction. For all your construction needs, new additions, remodels, decks, fencing, flooring, and the work and tile work, we have you covered. Sorry, I wrote this thing. If we can't do it, we'll find someone who can. Check us out on Facebook and see our work today. Bill Hagedorn Construction, 541-817-3704.
All right, thanks. And I too, I know Bill well. He does great work.
Yeah, he's did a couple projects for me and done really, really well.
I believe Diana, his wife, also works side by side with him. So yeah, they do great work. Trustworthy people too. I'm going to read off my ad here for Becky Home Insurance. Becky's a good friend of mine as well. And I know the ad's getting kind of old because it's not hunting season anymore, but I'm going to start out with it the way it is. It says that time of year, and she's that time of year again. She's not talking about hunting season. I'm talking about annual enrollment for Medicare and Marketplace. Now that's a little past. To find out what Medicare just did to you, give my friend Becky Holm a call. She'll take the time to explain your choices, help you come to a decision that's right for you. Plans change, doctors change, the plans they accept or medication list may have changed. Regardless of the changes, Becky is here to guide you through it. She's licensed in several states and based right here in Roseburg, Oregon. Call Becky Holmes, 541-900-6001. And Becky is really knowledgeable on insurance, and I call her once in a while myself.
Health insurance.
Yeah, health insurance, right. We have another insurance agent with us too, but by all means, she's honest and fair and trustworthy. And that's what we like in business. Yeah. I mean, if you can be honest. Also, I realize Andrea Williams is probably to the end of her time for sponsoring, but we like her so much, we're going to go ahead and read it off again anyway. So Andrea Williams with Advocare. If holiday stress has you running on fumes, holiday's over now, thank God. Coffee just isn't cutting it anymore, and you're starting to wonder if you're on Santa's naughty or nice list. Well, I know where I'm at. It might be the time for a little spark. Advocare Spark delivers sugar-free, clean energy with a mood boost to brighten your holiday spirit. Andrea has a 20% off promo code. I assume she's still doing that. Plus free gifts for new customers. Visit healthyhabittribe.org or all one word, or find Andrea Williams, AppleCare Distributor, on Facebook. Shoot her a message, and she'll hook you up. I use the product. Great product.
I use it.
I don't have it tonight because I'm out, and I'm out of the gift that she gave me. I need to get some more. So, Andrea, if you're watching tonight, we need to hook up because I got to get some product. I'm running low. I don't know.
You know, it's really cool with her. Every time you order, you get freebies too.
Yeah.
So you get to try something new all the time. So I'm trying some stuff. I used to use in the past during training called Catalyst.
Oh, really?
And for me, it's been a recovery, workout recovery product that's
It's good for old guys and stuff.
good for old guys. Yep.
Well, I want to touch on something tonight. I posted this on my Facebook account today, and I've had several people, particularly on the other side of the aisle, right, have come back at me because I support the no tax referendum. And by the way, I should also mention that it sounds to me like the Democrats are talking right now about how they're gonna pull that tax referendum back. They're probably not going to proceed forward because our governor knows that if she does proceed forward, likely she won't be our governor anymore. And likely a lot of Democrats in the House and the legislature also won't be in office anymore. So I should just start out with that because that frankly tells you that they knew better, right? When they shoved this tax up everybody's behind, they knew better. So I've had people say on social media that, well, the Republicans don't have a plan. What did you guys come up with? You didn't do anything. You just basically don't like their plan. So well, that's untrue. And if you do follow politics, and although I don't scold you for not following because politics can be a pain in the ass, the fact is we did have a plan, and I have a copy of it. I posted it on my Facebook. I probably should post it on the Verge as well. I will tell you that I was part of the negotiations for this within our caucus. When we brought this plan forward to the Democrats and to the Democrat caucus, they absolutely the governor herself said, I'm not interested in listening to any of it.
Yep.
Flat out, period. It's a Republican plan, not interested. I don't have the total number here, but I think we did some cuts, which what any smart business would do. If you're struggling in business, what you do is you cut back, or you maybe just transfer your money over to other sections of your business to make that part of your business come back, but you have to adjust to problems when you're having it. Well, the governor doesn't want to do that. She just wanted to add more taxes to it. So I wanted to just touch base on a couple of these items. One of the things that really stuck out to me, and again, if you want a copy of this, it's available. There was some unused office space in ODOT headquarters, and we estimated that unused space, and I've actually seen it because everybody's working from home because that's the new thing after COVID. So there's literally several thousand square feet of office space that's unused. We estimated that $3.4 million could be brought in on rent over the biennium if they would just rent that space out. It's right next to the Capitol downtown, and it's virtually empty. Nobody's paying the electric bill except the state, and it goes on from there. We have estimated they have $38 million per biennium scheduled for passenger rail that doesn't exist. So that money is going into basically a study of passenger rail, which most of the cities don't have at this point, and likely are not going to have. ODOT has hundreds of positions that have been unfilled for at least 6 months. This was last year, totaling $75 million, reducing the unfilled vacancy rate by 90%, would result in a $68 million savings while leaving flexibility for agencies to execute core responsibilities. The misnomer that I hear from the other side of the aisle is that we want to cut transportation, or not transportation. We want to cut the snow plows and we want to cut road maintenance. That's just simply not true. We want to readjust the money that's going into the endless pile of nothing, and we want to put it toward the stuff that matters, which is what we call the core mission. There is a social equity and civil rights division, and this one really gets to me. It's basically DEI. $29.3 million was budgeted for the 25-27 biennium budget to go into that. Basically, that means you've got somebody somewhere teaching you diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's $29.3 million. What we're saying is we don't need that right now. We have a crisis. We want that money spent on the roads. We don't want to see a road left unplowed while we're out there, teaching people how to, be comfortable with LGBTQ stuff or whatever the case may be. But the governor wouldn't even hear it. She would not allow it. She wouldn't hear it. Gosh, the list just goes on. There's a climate office. 13.9 million per biennium goes to a climate office. Of the more than 66 million allocated for the climate office in 2025-2027 budget, 13.9 million is designated as state or federal discretion, meaning it could be refocused toward transportation infrastructure needs. Why not take that 13.9 million, put it into jobs, right? Governor wanted to lay off 400 people. That was easy to find that money. That was like, cut programs that that just don't matter. I can go on, but I want kind of hear your guys' comments on some of this.
Well, that's what you get when you have a bunch of people that are doing a business plan that have never ran a business.
Yeah.
I mean, simple as that. I mean, you said it right at the beginning. If you have a company and things are kind of short, you start cutting back and you focus to where your production is.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, your company goes out of business.
Yeah.
And in Oregon, our budget goes to hell, and we just keep adding taxes to pay more of it.
Virgil, it's been 40 plus years of Democrat leadership in the state of Oregon, and the answer has always been to throw more tax and more regulation.
Yeah.
And for us, practical people out here in the world that are trying to scratch a living, we focus our priorities on the have tos before the want tos.
Yeah.
We do the things that have to be done first, and in my mind, plowing the winter passes is a have to.
Yeah.
And teaching people about inclusion and DEI is a want to. And I think the state needs to understand that a little bit better and figure out ways to cut costs, exactly like you said.
Yeah. And that 29 million that's just one state agency.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
We have
multiple.
some other guests here too that probably would comment on that.
Oh, do we have Senator Brock Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, by golly. And who's that behind you, Senator Brock Smith?
Send me a copy, boy.
We got
Hold on.
I don't think we can hear
Representative
you.
Boomer right here and
There you are.
Representative Court Boice.
Look at that.
Hey, how we doing?
Boy,
Hey, we're doing good. Thanks for joining us. I didn't know we got a package of 3. I'm here. Can you hear us?
We're here at we just finished up with Senator Anderson, who had to get on the road, but in Coos Bay at the South Coast Education Service District with all our school board members and superintendents,
The teachers.
and teachers for Coos and Curry counties.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We were just beating up the transportation package and talking about all the things that we put in there with the Republican response that the governor just didn't want to hear. And I've had a lot of people say the Republicans don't have a plan. So tonight we were just kind of reading that plan, and it's available. Anybody can look at it. It's online.
Well, no, that's right. We identified about $502 million
700.
in resources that our proposal would have allowed the governor and ODOT to reallocate some of those resources to fund the maintenance that is necessary. I mean, they spend $29 million for DEI in their budget. So we have an opportunity. So we have an opportunity.
Actually, yes.
There's another $28 million in the Department of Education DEI.
Correct. So we have opportunities, and I'm hopeful that when we go into the short session, I know that the governor's having conversations with, of course, my leader, Starr, and I believe your leader, Lieutenant Elmer, but that we are able to pass the Republican version that we gave the governor during the short session, that we gave in the long session, and then in our special session, so that we can move forward. I just want to again reiterate, and I know that my colleagues here and that Representative, that it's critically important that we hold the people's voice to keep the referral on the ballot for November. Critically important, because darn well that the Democrats are going to try to come in and pull shenanigans, as I've talked about on your show before, and change the date. And we can't allow that to happen, and we all have to work
Absolutely.
together in both chambers during the 35-day short session to make sure that they don't have the opportunity, because they're going to damn well try, but they don't have the opportunity to move the date.
Yeah, my understanding, I'm starting to hear grumbling through the grapevine that they're going to try to repeal the whole thing and pull it back and not even allow it to go to the ballot. And I think the reason they're talking about doing that is because Governor Kotek she doesn't want that tied around her neck during the either the primary, for that matter, any election, because people aren't going to forget it. But I think she's trying to now walk it back and be the hero. Again, this is hearsay, so it's not. Again, we only talk about facts here, but this is pretty doggone educated hearsay right now. But I'm concerned about that.
Well, I'm concerned as well, but one of the reasons that there was lots of reasons why the whole bill wasn't referred, right? And so my understanding, and I'm sure there's smarter people than I that are getting LC opinions on this, is that she doesn't have the opportunity to repeal the sections of the bill that we referred, right? So she can't just repeal, she has to repeal all of 3991, not just portions of it like we referred. That is my understanding. I could be incorrect, but I believe that is the case, which would well, it would be bad.
Virgil, well said.
Well said.
How you addressed it there, because we do have to anticipate, as the senator said, shenanigans.
Yep.
Know that's coming, and the people have to know that they're being bushwhacked again.
Yeah.
Okay, gotta go. We'll take care of yourself.
All right. See you, Boomer. Thank you guys for joining us for a little bit of time anyway. Take care.
Thank you. Who else you got in the room? Did we hear Commissioner Boice?
Hey,
Yep.
David, how are you? Good to see you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being there, Commissioner. Thanks for all your great work. You and your team are amazing, and it's just a fantastic team that we have in Douglas County and with Southwest Oregon, with you and Commissioner Kresh and Commissioner Freeman and myself and Representative Boyce and Representative Osborne and Representative Scarlatos. Thank you for the just fantastic work and everything that you do, especially to the veterans and what we did with Wreath, what you were able to do with Wreath Across America.
Oh, that was amazing. Hey, you guys take care and stay out of trouble tonight. I know you headed to dinner, right?
No, we had dinner here, but we're headed. It's an hour and a half for him, an hour for me back home.
All right. Well, safe travels and thanks for joining us. Take care.
Hey, keep Trent in line, okay?
Yeah. And we don't want to forget Trent. And Trent's part of the team. He's behind the scenes. He's, the Republican Party now is finally standing behind everybody, all of our representative elected officials and representatives. It's really nice to have everybody pulling together in the same direction. So thank
Amen.
you. Yes.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Boyce, you owe me a phone call, okay?
Hey, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Safe travels, guys. Okay. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this transportation thing because I think it's a dying quail. It's going to crash and burn. Hopefully what comes of this is the governor will have to listen to the Republicans as well. We don't have all the answers. We're not always right, but I believe that we represent the people that we represent, and we need to be heard. And that's what it is.
Well, and I think with managing money, we've said this before, on the Democratic side, just in the House of Representatives, there's only 2, maybe 3 reps that are self-employed or have ever ran a business.
Yeah, on the Democrat side.
On the Democratic side.
Yeah.
And you've got people trying to make law on things they have no clue. They're just going off total emotion and, we'll just make it really warm and fuzzy for everybody. And that's not reality.
Well, we talked a lot about that today in our meetings that we had with the Bankers Association. And, people are going, I just don't understand how they can allow these things to continue forward. And it's simple. They never signed the front side of a paycheck.
Yeah.
They don't understand it.
Yeah.
They just keep levying more and more dollars on business. And then pretty soon business leaves.
Yeah.
We had a long discussion today about, and one of my passions is climate, energy, and environment, right? The state, and I've been to Nevada recently. You go down to like Reno and Sparks area, And there is new businesses popping up everywhere, big businesses. You've got Amazon distribution centers. You've got Google, what do they call those big data centers, Amazon data centers, all these data. Everything's going crazy down there. In Oregon, we're forcing the data centers to produce their own power, basically. They got to do it with hydrogen, solar, or wind, and it can't happen. So it's like, I tried to defend Google in a committee meeting. Google was just getting hammered by, the environmentalists, basically saying you're going to come in and you're going to pay for all the infrastructure, you're going to do all this, you can do all that. And I was defending him, and what Google said at the end? Like, oh, we're okay with all that. I'm like, then good, pay for it. I'm like, it's crazy. And again, this is a whole other topic, but part of the problem in the state with doing green energy, and you can be an environmentalist all you want. You can love trees, you can do whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is we don't have the transmission lines. You can't just create a wind farm out in eastern Oregon somewhere, or create a wind or a solar farm in the desert, and all of a sudden all that power is right here in Douglas County. It doesn't work that way. You have to have transmission. It doesn't just go through the existing lines, because they're going to different areas, right? So what the Democrats have tried to do, and they didn't get it done yet, but I think they're going to get it done. They were trying to establish a transmission authority, and that's going through my committee. And if they get that transmission authority established, that means they have eminent domain. That means if they want to come through your property, they come through your property. They don't pay you for it. They just come through your property, and it doesn't matter. And I'm going, I don't. Property rights are very important to me. And I mean, you guys deal with this. We just had the whole pipeline mess we had to deal with.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it, Chris?
Private property rights are important. And, when you have the government taking away what people have worked hard for their whole lives, it just doesn't ever work.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. We're not just requiring these folks to invest millions and millions of dollars in order to be in Oregon, because what's happening is they're just choosing to be elsewhere.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. They're going to Nevada, they're going to Idaho, they're going to Florida, Texas.
Yeah.
And Oregon's losing population right now. We've lost, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say, I think the revenue forecast, along with the jobs forecast, said we gained 20,000 jobs or whatever. All of those were in the health industry, which is all paid for by taxes.
Mhm.
And in the manufacturing sector, we lost thousands, right? And
It was like 11,000.
11,000, I think it was, yeah. And the manufacturing sector of a state's economy is very, very important, because that's the part that makes things happen. I mean, that money trickles up into the community, and people spend their money. Everybody wants to, not everybody, but some of the environmentalists want to see all the logging industry go away. Well, the logging industry goes away, tourism is not going to replace it.
Nope.
And I hear this all the time. Well, we need to have, this, and we need to have that, and bring in the tourists. You can bring in 1,000 people to a winery that's owned by a husband and a wife, and they might spend, I don't know, $10,000, whatever, it goes to that entity, and whatever profits coming from that, it's not going back into the community. But you have a log truck operation going on. That guy's he's going to be paying for tires. It's going to go to the tire companies. It's going to be paying for service for the trucks. They're going to be paying for chainsaws, and all that stuff. Tourism doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
It's a completely different entity.
Yep.
And since I'm touching on that, I want to say you guys have done it, Chris. You've done an amazing job with what you've done with our parks. And today, as I drove by I can't remember the name of it, but the newest, not the newest, but the one you guys just finished remodeling down by Seven Feathers,
Stanton.
Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw it this last weekend.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I've heard nothing but complaints from certain side of the aisle. I'm going, I would stay there now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have stayed there before.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful park.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you invested some money in it because now it'll pay back.
Yeah.
I remember when the county, and particularly you, kind of championed it, started with Discovery Point, Winchester Bay, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That whole thing was a hot mess. I mean, I believe the guy that owned it was bankrupt or whatever the case may be.
Close, yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things, there was just, you guys have caught a lot of heat over that. There was a lot of money spent on that, and the numbers. But a lot of that money came from state grants.
Yeah.
A lot of money, people are like, oh, our taxpayer. Well, it may be your taxpayer money, but that didn't come from Douglas County. A lot of that came through state grants. And I know I was part of some of that situation. So I know that for a fact. That's not made up.
Yeah.
And now, what's the park system doing? I mean, is it profitable?
Yeah, Virgil, we went from, I mentioned I've been a commissioner for 11 years. And the very first thing that we had to tackle 11 years ago was the county was on about a 3-year glide slope to insolvency.
Yeah.
We were spending down reserves at a rate where we had about 3.5 years left to go before we ran out of money. And obviously that was 11 years ago and we're still here, right?
Yeah.
So we had to do a lot of what, ODOT's looking at. We had a serious budget problem and we had to make cuts on certain side, but we also had to figure out how to generate some revenues. And at the time, the Parks Department was spending about $1.5 million a year out of reserves.
Mhm.
And the entire system was dilapidated, deferred maintenance list a mile long. Some of the assets were just unsafe to be used.
Mhm.
And we were literally looking at having to close parks because we couldn't afford to maintain them. And what we did was build a business model that exactly did what you said it did. It captured tourism, and we created some things that people were willing to pay for. We wanted to have some assets out there that people not only were willing to pay for, but actually stood in line to use.
Yeah.
And the model that we had to go by actually was the Salmon Harbor RV Resort over in the coast.
Mhm.
And one of the first projects I worked on was expanding that RV resort.
Yeah.
When you're during the busy season and your occupancy rate's 100%, you need more occupancy, right? You need more spaces. So we did the RV resort expansion first. And then we started looking at other potential opportunities. And one of the first projects we worked on was an improvement out at Whistler's Bend.
Yeah.
And put in some RV spaces there, and that worked. And we added a few yurts. I actually found a yurt for $500 on Craigslist. Parks Department went and bought it, repurposed it, and out in Whistler's Bend, it's been
Really?
making money ever since.
That's
Yeah.
so
No
awesome.
kidding.
Yeah.
I've been in that yurt. I had no
Yeah.
idea you got it that cheap though.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, and then the opportunity to buy what formerly was known as Discovery Point came along. And to be honest with you, Virgil, it was the best business decision that we as a county have ever made.
Yeah.
We've gone from spending $1.5 million a year out of reserves
Right.
to bringing in about $4 million a year in revenues.
Yeah.
We've done that with Parks Department managers who understood the assignment.
Yeah.
And the truth is about these grant funds, originally we bought that property over there for $1.2 million and we paid for half of it with cash and half of it with grant funds.
Right.
We've paid for most of the improvements there since then with grant funds.
Yeah.
Those improvements have been in 3 phases. We did a half of the park remodel and update, and then the other half remodel and update, and then we just finished an expansion over there this summer. Mostly all completed with grant funds. I think it was right at the end of June. It might have been the 1st of July. There was a single day that I was tracking. Total revenue for the Parks Department
Mhm.
for that one day was $21,000 revenue
That's
in.
amazing.
That's awesome.
14,000 of it came from that facility,
Is that right?
that one facility.
Well, the thing is and I understand some of this because I've been pretty heavily involved with state grants and stuff. But the thing is that's tourism.
Yeah.
You guys are supporting tourism.
Yeah.
I don't think most people understand Whistler's Bend has a world-class Frisbee golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people now come there and you got to wait in line. You may not be able to get a place to camp now
Yeah.
because it's so busy.
Yep.
And of course you have the ATV uses on the coast,
Mhm.
right? That's tourism. I know
Mhm.
some people don't like it. But
Yeah.
that's the reality is when you see a guy rolling there with a $500,000 motorhome and he's got a double stacker with a sand rail and 2 side-by-sides, there's $1 million worth of stuff there.
Mhm.
He's going to spend some money in Reedsport.
Yeah, the part that people don't really seem to click on, and I came up with this off the cuff speech very early in my tenure as a commissioner, and I titled it 2 Douglas Counties. What that meant was there's the geographic area, Douglas County, where we live,
Yeah.
but there's also Douglas County government.
Yeah.
And I run Douglas County government with my 2 fellow commissioners.
Sure.
And from a government's perspective, it's very hard to translate tourism into dollars that fund your government.
Yeah.
it's easy to bring tourists into your county and they spread their money around everywhere.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at a revenue shortfall that used to come from selling a public asset, timber from
Yeah.
federal lands into the market and being paid for selling that product,
Right.
that's no longer happening, to trying to bring revenue back into the county coffers, and people are screaming at you, tourism, tourism, tourism. There's only two ways that I've been able to figure out how to do that. One is to put a toll booth up on every road coming into the county and make everybody that's not from here pay a toll to get in. That idea, believe it or not, wasn't very popular.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And the other way is to develop infrastructure and assets within the county that the county owns.
Yeah.
That the people are willing to come here and pay to use.
Sure.
And that's what we've done.
Yep.
And the result of that, and we have all kinds of people say nasty things all the time. You guys only care about the coast. Well, Stanton Park's not at the coast.
No,
Nope.
neither is Whistler's.
Yeah, neither's River Forks, and it's got all new infrastructure out there. Neither's Whistler's Bend,
Yeah.
right? But what you see now is we talked about, we had a newsletter that came out recently. It was called 10 years of, or a decade of new direction.
Yeah.
What you see now is new infrastructure in nearly every single parks facility.
Yep.
Right.
You got new restrooms, you got new playgrounds, you got new remodeled RV spaces, you've got new places to go that we never had before.
Mhm.
And all of that has been the result of investing in that infrastructure and putting something out there for rent that people are willing to pay for.
Yeah, and it was way behind. It's amazing the work you guys have done, and it was time. It needed to be done, and you've also cut loose of some of the assets that are just absolutely weren't doing anything except costing county money, and that kind of comes with management. I mean, that's again, commissioners are managers of our county, and I would be not happy if I knew that you were holding on to an asset that was just costing us money, and I mean, I'm sure that
Yeah.
exists, right? I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
everything, but if you see an opportunity to unload something that is a liability, and we can go into that discussion on many things, I think it's a good thing.
We sold I think the count right now is right at $300,000 worth
Yeah.
of under or non-utilized equipment and supplies that we had sitting out at the Parks Department maintenance shed for years.
Yeah.
We put it on govdeals.com as surplus, and we sold $300,000 worth of stuff and taken that $300,000 and bought newer equipment that we can utilize at all of our facilities. And it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Do we have time for a quick,
We got time.
quick short?
We got time.
Here's a real quick story that I just love this innovation. Okay. So we ended up having a bridge that we needed to remove.
Mhm.
It was a property that used to be a park out in Green. There was a bridge that went from one side of the creek to the other side. That property is no longer going to be parks. It's actually going to be really neat what it ends up turning into. I've got some plans for that. But we ended up having to remove this bridge.
Uh-huh.
And director come to me and he said, we got to remove this bridge, and I got to get with Public Works. I got to figure out, engineering and cranes and all the things and what it's going to cost. I got a budget to remove this bridge. It's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about the surplus property auction and all the things that we had sold on there. And I said, you know what, Mark, I don't want you to do that. I want you to list that bridge for sale on govdeals.com. I want you to sell it at an auction, and I want you to make the guy that buys it responsible for removing it.
And you did it.
We did it.
It's amazing.
We listed the bridge for sale on govdeals.com. We had two guys bidding against each other for it.
Really?
I think we sold it for $180 or something. And they were responsible for moving it out of there, and it saved us thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
I know that, I always try to help out the county. It's even with our nonprofit. Sometimes when you guys are hauling, waste, dirt and stuff from slides and stuff, we open up our gates and say, hey, you guys if you need a place to dump it that's closer, if you can bring dump truck a mile away rather than going clear across town, bring it up. I mean, it's just good governance, and trying to be responsible.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing story. Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That goes back to the thing that's in the business world, we call that acumen.
Yeah.
That's because you've had multiple businesses for a lot of years, and you've had to be creative to grow and build and scale. So with what you do, especially when you're trying to administer this massive budget in Douglas County, you got to find ways to grow it. And I just think it's amazing that Douglas County is investing, creating this, I call it a cash flow generator. I mean, it's real estate.
Yeah.
And they found the tool that'll help keep us here for a long time. And I use those parks every year over the coast, by the way. We've got, matter of fact, a group of us that we always go over every year. We're booking time over there right now.
Yeah.
That we go over.
Well, and I think, there's other counties that are kind of doing the same thing. Riley Ranch in Coos County. I think just that park itself pretty much pays for most of the rest of the Coos County parks.
Sure.
It's just smart things to do. And I like what I've seen. And I've talked to you guys a little bit about this, but it seems like each of the different entities of the county, the parks department and other departments are you guys are making them profitable. So they're not sucking money out of the general fund.
Yeah.
And that's just smart.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes sense. We have to have our sheriff's department. I mean, if you're not safe in your own home, nothing else matters.
Right. Yeah.
So, and we can see from some of the counties to our south where they're really struggling with their budgets with the sheriff's department. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think our sheriff's department does a fantastic job. And, our deputies are great. They're very personable and they're fair. Thank God we have them. Let's keep them. I want to go real quick back to some stuff that's more not so much local, but there was a report that came out here a couple of days ago that this is going to be more nationwide politics, but Oregon has spent $3.1 million to sue the Trump administration in 52 lawsuits against the Trump administration. Now, I will be fair and I will say that some of those lawsuits have put injunctions against the Trump administration from cutting money that was coming into the state. So they have saved some money by doing that, but $3.1 million was spent that we know of. And that's just the basic. That doesn't count all the other behind the scenes stuff and from our Department of Justice. And I personally, I think it's crazy. There were 52 lawsuits. The most expensive case was $855,000 challenging the National Guard in Portland. Other major cases were challenging tariffs, where $500,000 were spent, freezing federal funds about $115,000. I just kind of want to get your guys' take on that. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's pretty interesting because they just announced today, because a lot of these lawsuits are put by lower court judges.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court came out today and it was, is it 5-3, something like that?
I didn't see it.
That lower courts can't do that no more. They have to go directly to the Fed to file the lawsuits, and lower courts can't have a say on something, especially when it comes to the use of the military by the commander in chief, because that is in his purview.
That's in his purview. Yeah. Absolutely. A couple other things let's see. I wanted to talk about the Oregon, the voter population in Oregon. I pulled some quick AI numbers on that. And it shows that the biggest group of voters, and Trent, you probably know this now, is 1.1 million voters are non-affiliated.
Right.
990,000 are Democrats and 730,000 are Republicans. And then there's 200,000 a third party or other, which would be Constitution Party, Green Party, whatever it may be. I made a post on this, and I kind of said some things like we need to be focused, at least as Republicans, as we are. We need to be focused on going after those non-affiliated voters. Some people go, well, how in the hell do we have 1.1 million non-affiliated voters? Well, here's how that works. It's a motor voter law, right? So when you go down and you sign up, at 16 years old, you can't vote, but they'll put you on as if you choose when you get your driver's license to check the box that says you're a Republican or Democrat, then you become a Republican or a Democrat on the voter roll. Otherwise, you're not affiliated. So 1.1 million people, it's the biggest sector of the voters in the state that are actually registered. I looked at the county registration, and we have 34,000 registered Republicans in the county, roughly, 33,000 non-affiliated voters, and only 15,000 Democrat voters, and then there's some independents as well.
Right.
One of the interesting statistics, I work with Dan Loomis, who absolutely the best county clerk ever.
Oh yeah,
in my
he's
opinion,
total good dude.
The guy is phenomenal. And talking about some of these voter registration numbers and things. And I don't think it's going to be a surprise to either of you or maybe a lot of people listening, but Well, once the motor voter law took effect,
Yeah.
The voter rolls went way up.
Yeah.
Voter participation stayed about the same.
About the same.
Yeah. People who were interested in voting were already voting.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the people who got registered to vote by going to the DMV, instead of making an intentional trip to the courthouse to register to vote, they weren't apparently that interested in voting, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And
It-
here's another little tidbit on that. You know, as of right now, from the last thing I saw in December, new voter registrations, we're ahead of the Democrats
Oh, I'm sure.
this year by quite a bit. Actually, the number was surprising.
Yeah, I looked at some numbers from the primary election of 24. It looks like only 37% of the registered voters voted in the primary. And the general in 24, the number that AI gave me was 69% in Douglas County.
Right.
So yeah, it is interesting. And the reason I bring this up is because, of course, the next thing that I continue to get hammered on all the time is this in vote by mail thing. And I'll just go on the record and say, if in vote by mail is important to you, sign a petition. If it makes it on the ballot, vote to end it. But the fact of the matter is, I firmly believe we need to clean up our voter rolls, right? I think we need to end motor voter for one thing. I mean, it just needs to go away.
Right.
But that's not what's happening in the House right now. We're actually now looking at DHS to start. As you sign up to get your benefits, we're going to sign you up to register to vote too, as well. And I know why they're doing that, because those folks are going to vote. They're going to vote in the primary. They're going to vote Democrat in the primary. But I just think we need to clean up the voter rolls before we do anything else. And I think what happens with the vote by mail, and this is just, I mean, people cheat, right? I mean, whether Democrats or Republicans, people cheat. But what happens is you get a bunch of ballots that go to a house, and maybe the dad is a Democrat or whatever, and he's going to fill out the ballots for mom and the 18-year-old kid and maybe grandma. All of a sudden, they don't know what they voted for. They don't care. Dad filled it out and sent it in for him. That is the problem with vote by mail.
Yeah.
I truly believe we need to find a way to make sure that every single person gets a ballot. That I think you should request the ballot. And if you're handicapped and you can't get out, fine. Then request the ballot. We should send you a ballot. Otherwise, if you can, we probably should vote in person, or
Yep.
definitely at least show. If you're not voting in person, we somehow have to find a way to prove you are who you are.
Yeah.
And
Virgil, this is the foundation of America.
Yeah.
This is what makes a free society a free society. And what we've done is make it way too easy. And you know what? Voting should be easy, but you should also have some skin in the game.
Yep.
You should absolutely have to put some effort into trying to change the rules in your society.
yes,
And to have, and you used a great example, to have a house full of folks whose ballots get sent in, but they may have never touched them. Essentially what you're doing in that environment is you're giving one person multiple votes.
Yep.
Instead of everyone having some skin in the game and voting for themselves, you're giving one person multiple votes, and you're not receiving votes from as many people as you think you are.
right.
And it may be true that maybe they sit down as a family and go over them together, and everybody fills out their individual vote. And I'm sure that happens as well. That's
Sure.
kind of how we did it in my house.
That's how we do it in my house.
Right.
Yeah.
But to have that other circumstance, and it happens, it's true. Voting, it should be something that costs a little something. That you have to have some skin in the game. You got to put out some effort in order to
It's essential to
have a
our
voice.
we're a representative republic. That's what we are, and it's essential to the voting is what we should cherish. That that's the most important part of our politics, because when it's not cherished, we end up where we're at.
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, we have 40 years of Democrat rule. I hear all the time, especially coming from the Democrat side in Douglas County, we want change. We want change. Well, your party was the one that put us here. Frankly, I will say from the deepest part of my heart, I don't have a problem with Democrats, right? If you don't believe in the same things I believe in, that doesn't mean I don't like you. Politics is politics. There's certain things we completely are probably going to always disagree on.
Yeah.
Abortion, gun rights, those kind of things, taxes. We're just going to disagree on those. But when it comes to the general issues that we all face every day, when we wake up and we go to our jobs, or we don't have the money, or we're being overtaxed, whatever those cases are, we all suffer from the same things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, I suppose we're probably pushing the edge of our time limits tonight. We're a little over, but it's actually been a great conversation.
Yeah.
And always give everybody a chance to close. You got anything you want to close on, Chris?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I've been following this for a little bit and have a chance to come down, sit on the couch with you, talk about things that are important to other people. I appreciate the opportunity and to talk to people about, especially right now, I think is the most important. You don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yeah.
Even if you believe it came from a reliable source, do a little bit of homework.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of homework.
Yeah.
And we're honest guys. We really are. We want to do the best for our community. If my lips are moving, I'm not lying. I'm really trying to tell you the right information so that you're armed with the truth and you can make a good decision.
Sure.
Your decision may be different than my decision, but I want you to have the facts. And I spend an awful lot of my time on social media, otherwise, trying to make sure that people have the right information. So just please be careful. Believe in everything that you read on the internet.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Trent?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. Again, thank you for coming.
Sure.
This has been,
Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out with you. I just want to echo what he said. I'm going to take it a step farther. Don't do a little homework. Do your damn homework. Do it all. Get it right the first time before you say something. Don't just blatantly post something out there and hope it's right. And then when you get called, say you're sorry. Check it out. And if you're wrong, take it off and post a retraction. I've actually done that.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that from other people that I call out when I show them, here's the truth.
Yeah.
So do that. The other thing I want to say is I'm working on right now, myself personally, everybody, well, I don't want to vote by mail. Well, take your ballot down to the courthouse and hand it to them. Don't put it in the mail. And I'm just, I talked to you about this the other day today.
Yeah.
About, hey, let's get a group of us together and let's go do that. Just like old school days, and we'll go down and we'll vote together and then go have a soda and celebrate. It's an honor and a privilege to vote.
Yeah.
Because I've been to other countries, they come out with their little blue finger. I voted. Your vote didn't count. And we just saw a guy that used to run a country that way.
Yeah, no, he doesn't run that country.
Yeah, no, he
anymore.
doesn't run that country no more. And so take that seriously. I remember back in the day when I worked for Clint Newell, he goes,
Yeah.
Did you vote yet? Nope. Get
Go
going.
vote. It's important.
Yeah. And it was, those things are important to the fabric of, again, being the older guy, to see people bitch about having to vote.
You are the oldest guy in the room.
I am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Still
love you
looking
anyway.
good, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm holding it in. But no, and I just want to thank you for letting me be part of this. I mean,
absolutely.
this is a highlight of my week.
It's amazing the reach that we have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize, you look online, you see however many people are watching live, but the fact of the matter is the analytics show that it's huge.
Yeah.
And I think people are ready to start listening to, both sides, right?
Yeah.
I'll close with a couple of comments. I find it amazing that, and this is more of a national, worldwide news, but, President Trump, like him or not, he just took out a dictator, a king, right? Basically somebody who lied about the election, who took over a country, who ran it into the ditch, right? Maduro, who killed thousands and thousands of American people with drugs.
Millions.
Millions possibly indirectly. Trump, and this didn't just start this year. This has been going on since his first administration. And he did something that the Democrats were asking him to do in 2020. Well, he finally did it. He took him out. And I have to look online and I see the No Kings protest, and they're protesting Trump's action. He took out a king. So I'm going,
An illegitimate one.
an illegitimate one. And I'm going, make this make sense to me, guys. It's like we all have these political divides. I get all that, right? I mean, we don't always agree on everything. But in this particular case, you can argue, should he have used the military? You can argue, was it a military function or was it a
We've done
police
it before.
function? You can
3
argue
other presidents. Same
yeah, and you can argue all that stuff. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is, at the end of the day, a bad guy is now in jail, and the country's free. They're celebrating over there because they actually now they have a chance to live and you know, enjoy some freedoms. I just don't get it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if you hate Trump that bad, I guess that's what you're going to do in life. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's so great about that too is he's going to court in a civil court, not a military tribunal.
right.
And he, you know, the president's order, he's going to be found guilty.
Oh yeah. I mean,
You know, so
I mean, it's
yeah.
it's
awesome.
so that's one thing. The other thing I just want to comment is I lately have been getting a lot of flack online. I mean, we all do, and you even catch some yourself too. And I even had a lady call me a dick online, and I was like reading it, and I'm like, if people think that I'm so thin-skinned that calling me a name on Facebook is going to make me change directions,
Yeah.
or threatening me on Facebook is going to make somehow me change directions, keep up the work, man. It's pretty awesome. I'll enjoy it. So I'm here to serve the people of Douglas County. They elected me to do that job, and I'm going to do that job until they decide they don't want me to do that job. And I have no ego in this job whatsoever. I have family here. I grew up here. I'm concerned about our industry. I'm concerned about our community. I may or may not agree with every single thing that all of us, I mean, I may not agree with Republicans on some things, and I probably won't agree with every Democrat on everything. But the fact of the matter is, if you need me, I'm here, and you know how to contact me. And I spend most of my days on the phone with constituents, and a lot of them. Today, I had a lady looking for some help with paid leave Oregon. I don't know if she was a Democrat or Republican. I don't care. I'm going to help her. Right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. So, with that said, thank you guys for joining us. This has been a very nice meeting tonight. We've had some great conversation. Chris, I hope we can have you back as well as your colleagues.
Chris, how can people learn more about what the county's up to, the newsletter, things like that?
Yeah, the easiest way to know what we're doing, and we really have taken it upon ourselves to create a public information department to get information out that we feel like is important and accurate. So the best thing to do is just go to our website, and our website is douglascountyoregon.gov, douglascountyor.gov, and just click the button on the top right of the screen that says sign up for the newsletter. It'll come right to your email box. And from there, people really need to know. The three commissioners, me and my fellow commissioners, Tom Kress and Tim Freeman, we work hard, and we're available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can reach me through social media or my cell phone directly. My cell phone number is easy to find. We all carry one cell phone. It's our phone. We give out the number. It's public information, and we answer it just like you.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, so we're easy to get a hold of. There's no reason for anybody ever to speculate about what's going on when they can get a hold of us and just ask. And please do that. Please call and ask before you make a big deal out of something that isn't a big deal.
I always have myself when I hear something, I'll either call, depending on which commissioner, maybe that liaison with that department, I'll always call.
Yeah.
And I generally get the real story. So, it's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
But,
And it always seems to make sense, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
When you get the real story, it kind of seems to make sense.
It really does.
Yep.
It really does. All right. Well, with that, guys, thanks again. And we will see everybody next Tuesday. We're getting ready to go into legislative days. So we'll probably be coming to you from Salem, and look for the short session to open up in February. But after legislative days, which are next week, we will have some really good information to share with everybody, and you'll know the new direction that we right now don't know where we're going as far as bills and miscellaneous political issues. So anyway, with that, thank you guys all. We'll see you next week.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and